Alright, hello everybody, Friendly Red here, back with yet another news peruse. Today, Nintendo held a direct dedicated entirely to the upcoming Switch 2 exclusive game, Donkey Kong Bananza. There was a bunch of great new information and footage shared about the game, so I wanted to take some time to go over it here on the channel. Plus, I did say I was going to cover a Nintendo Direct, if one happened back at the end of the last news peruse, and, well, here we are. With the setup complete, let's delve into this latest perusing of some news. I suppose it's best to talk about everything in the order it was presented in, and right away, the Direct dropped a pretty big new reveal on us, that being the fact that DK won't be alone for his new adventure, as he'll have Pauline alongside him throughout his journey. I guess we technically already knew that DK would have a traveling buddy, as we saw a little rock creature alongside him in the initial reveal and subsequent treehouse gameplay, but it's cool to see it actually end up being Pauline, and it's equally cool that Nintendo was able to keep it a secret up until now. Heck, it probably would have been even crazier if they had truly kept this under wraps until the game was out, but I understand that this was an important thing to show for the sake of marketing and building excitement. Following the reveal of Pauline, the Direct went on to detail quite a bit of DK's moveset in this game. Of course, you have your standard 3D platforming affair of running and jumping, and the more common actions you would expect DK to be able to pull off, like climbing and punching, but then things started to get a bit more interesting. One big feature of the game that was present ever since the reveal back in April was how destructible the game world is, and we got to see a lot more details about how that all works here. DK can punch or dig his way through seemingly most terrain without too much trouble, and he can also tear up chunks of the world to more effectively break down the environment and any obstacles around him too. The toughness and type of the terrain you're utilizing can actually behave in different ways compared to others. As an example, we saw that DK can grab sand, which can be stuck to other parts of the environment to create new footstools, or to even just craft your own path up to a new area or objective that may be hard to reach otherwise. It's just one example, but it's for sure a really cool system, and I am curious to see what other terrain types there will be, and how they all may interact with one another. After the general DK moveset was shown off, the Direct then went on to show that DK can also utilize different transformations, which give him access to even more moves and abilities. You can sort of view these as you would power-ups in a Mario game, or perhaps more fittingly, the Cappy transformations slash captures you could pull off in Mario Odyssey. We saw 3 different forms DK can take, with the Kong Bananza essentially acting as a souped-up take on regular old DK. With this one, it seems there's going to be essentially no limits as to what you can smash through, so if you really want to blaze a new trail, or make a new path without any obstructions slowing you down or stopping you, then this is the form for you. Zebra Bananza and Ostrich Bananza were the other 2 forms showcased, and these are certainly more interesting, but also quite a bit weirder looking, at least from the design perspective. It probably just needs to grow on me some more, but it's somewhat odd to see DK turn into these large monkey plus other animal hybrids, but they're at least still pretty fun designs, even if they're maybe slightly kinda sorta cursed. Just a bit. Anyways, as far as new powers go, the Zebra is all about speed, letting you zip across the world faster than DK could normally on foot, and the Ostrich allows for brief moments of pure flight, but before turning into more of a glide through the air. They also showed how it can drop egg bombs down on enemies while you're flying, effectively turning DK into a bomber jet of sorts, which it certainly wasn't on my bingo card for this game, or any DK game for that matter. Actually, even though I said you can view these transformations as if they were like power-ups in Mario, I feel like that doesn't really do them justice. These don't exactly seem as limited in the same way those can be. What I mean is, usually in Mario games, you'll get a power-up in a specific part of the level, and then the rest of the level will play into the abilities that power-up gave you. Whereas here, these transformations act more like an extension of DK's core moveset, and you can activate them anytime, anywhere, and use them how you see fit, both in ways the developers intended for them to be used, and in ways the players will come up with on their own through experimentation that the devs may not have ever even thought of or realized. Now, yes, there will no doubt be plenty of parts of the world where it would be obvious to see where one transformation may work best, but I suspect we'll be seeing plenty of videos of people using these transformations to pull off and do all kinds of crazy tricks and maneuvers once the game is released. More variety and options are always great to have in abundance in sandboxy games like this one, and just these 3 transformations shown already look like fun to use. And I'm sure any others that may be waiting for us in the final game will be a great time as well. Moving on from DK's moveset section, we then got to get a better grasp on what exactly the gameplay structure will be like in Bananza, and in short, it appears to be a mix of the more open-ended, large 3D environmental exploration and platforming we experienced in Mario Odyssey, with a little bit of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom shrine-like action mixed in there too, as you can come across ruins in the world that will lead to small challenge levels you can complete, with already quite a bit of variety shown for them. Enemy gauntlets, puzzle rooms, and even some throwbacks to older DK adventures, with some side-scrolling, minecart riding, and barrel blasting fun to be had as well. And all of this The exploration, platforming, and challenge ruins are being done for the sake of collecting some sweet shinies and trinkets, with the main ones being known as Banandium gems. These presumably are tied to the natural progression of the game's story, but they also net you skill points once collected, which can be used to upgrade DK stats and powers. As for the other collectibles, they're mostly here to just act as currencies you can use to get items for your adventure, flat out buy Banandium gems if you're just shy of getting an upgrade, or proceeding to a new area, and of course, get some sweet new threads for both DK and Pauline. Hey, even when you're potentially hundreds of thousands of meters underground in search of legendary, wish-granting treasure, you gotta look fresh while doing it. Actually, the cosmetics offer more than just vanity, as it was mentioned that almost all articles of clothing in the game grant different bonuses and benefits while wearing them. So your chosen fit doesn't just make you look cooler, it can meaningfully improve your stats and abilities too. That about does it for the main segments of the Direct, but there's a few other things I wanted to briefly go over before we wrap it up here. Visually, I think this game looks fantastic. All the colors pop, the environments you traverse look super inventive and fun to explore and or destroy to your heart's content, and the characters we've seen so far are all super expressive and animated joyfully. It's probably not pushing any graphical boundaries, but Bananza makes up for it by offering a large, dynamic, and almost fully destructible world that reacts to the player in numerous, believable ways, all while targeting a high frame rate, which I think is more than impressive enough on its own, especially for a game coming in this close to launch. And this may just be me, but some of the cutscenes and larger enemy encounters we saw in this Direct kind of gave me similar vibes to what we've seen from the single-player offerings from the Splatoon games, which I absolutely adore. So it's neat to see some potential influence or references to that series here in DK. You know what else the Splatoon games have? Great music. And from what I'm hearing so far, Bananza has some absolutely wonderful tunes to back up the excellent looking gameplay. I would highly recommend giving the actual Direct a watch so you can hear some of the tracks on offer yourself. There's some great rearrangements of classic DK tracks and some awesome sounding vocal heavy tracks too, presumably sung by Pauline's VA in the game. It's seriously great stuff, and I cannot wait to hear more. Between this and the music found in Mario Kart World, Nintendo's sound team is on fire currently, and it's to all of our ears' benefits. The co-op and game share features they showed near the end are kinda cool, especially the fact that you can share the game to an original Nintendo Switch console if you do it via local wireless connection. Even if it's just streaming, it's sorta neat to see a Switch 2 game playing on the older hardware. They also showed off a little side mode in the game that lets you use the mouse controls of the Switch 2 Joy-Con to sculpt, paint, and decorate 3D models. It seems like it could be a fun little distraction to mess around with, and it kinda reminds me of the Mario face model you could stretch and play with in the title screen for Super Mario 64. Finally, they talked about amiibo support for the game, which is honestly not too awful interesting on its own, but the new DK and Pauline amiibo they revealed is pretty cool looking, I will say that. While I do like amiibo as cool little collectibles, they've sadly gotten way too pricey now with the launch of the Switch 2 era, so it's kind of hard to want to pick this or any new amiibo up because of that, even if they do look cool or are for a new game that you're looking forward to. That's about everything I had to say. So I think it's time we get into the conclusion.
I have this dream. Oh, maybe if we get to the surface, you and me, we can make it more than a dream. We're breaking through, down to the core, no stopping us, not any. Get up, DK, inside the zone. I found the key, got me right. This melody can hold me. My own special power?
And that was the Donkey Kong Bananza Direct. Honestly, I was already really excited for this game, and I was gonna pick it up at launch with or without this new info, but this just really reinforced my excitement. It seemingly got lots of people who might have been unsure about the game on board the potassium-rich hype train now, judging from the reception I've seen online thus far. Ultimately, it's a new platformer by Nintendo, and at this point, that's a genre of game I can always expect them to deliver the goods in. I mentioned it at the end of my highlight video for this year's Xbox Game Showcase, but I wasn't really sure if Nintendo was going to have enough new games or announcements, both first and third party, for a proper general Nintendo Direct, and between this solely DK-centric Direct and the separate announcement of Splatoon Raiders and a randomly dropped YouTube video, that does kinda continue to seem more and more likely. Then again, this is the same company that gave us a Nintendo Direct a week before the Switch 2 Direct, so who knows at this point. I'd obviously love a general Direct to occur sometime soon, as there's plenty of games that are known quantities we still don't have release dates for yet, but I suppose we'll just have to continue to wait and see. In the meantime, we've got some great new DK info and footage to enjoy, and plenty of Mario Kart World to continue to chip away at. But with all that being said, I think that'll do it for this video. If you made it to the end, I thank you for watching. Your continued viewership and support is greatly appreciated. I hope I was able to entertain, inform, and perhaps get your excitement and potassium levels pumped up even higher than they might have already been for the upcoming release of Donkey Kong Bananza. And last, but certainly not least, as always, I'll see you next time.